Hey, everybody, I want to welcome you to Business Insights with Matt Milia. And I'm super excited here because I've got one of the top agents in all greater Cleveland area on here. And in fact, she's my preferred agent. But before I go into how great she is, let me go ahead here and cue our intro. Welcome to Business Insights with Matt Milia. I'm your host, Matt Milia, and in this podcast, we'll talk about the real, raw, uncut business success secrets you won't find anywhere else. Follow my journey from entry level to CEO. We discuss real actionable items you can plug into your business right away. To subscribe to our weekly top tips, you can go to www.mattpodcast.com and join our community of elite high-level performers. And if you're interested in our inside sales company, you can go to www.appointmentstoday.com to jump on a free strategy call. And now, stay tuned for our podcast. All right. Christy, how are you doing?
I'm doing really good, thanks.
Good.
How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. I'm so pumped to have you on. And this has been one of those just long overdue. It's been a long overdue time to have you on because you've been now my go-to real estate agent for, probably the last, I can't remember how many transactions, but I've, of course, referred my dad over to you, that was a tough deal and you sold it. That was a tough deal and you sold. That was a tough deal, but you did amazing. And even to this day, he still raves about how great you did. You sold my house in a day and a half for 20 grand or 15 grand. It was a lot over. I know that. I mean, it was a good amount over what we were asking. So super pumped to have you on. You were awesome. And for anyone that's looking for an agent in the greater Cleveland area, call Christy now, callchristynow.com to get a hold of her. So, and I actually have that memorized, to call Christy now. That's how impactful. So, and as far as your experience, I mean, we worked together for inside sales. I've helped, of course, with the calling. How did you feel like we did with appointments today?
Well, you know that I always tell everyone that if I could clone you and bring you here, like you are the best. You have the absolute best ISAs on the planet. There's just no doubt.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Well, obviously, you and I have worked together for quite a few years, and we both were a part of a very strong, powerful real estate team in Cleveland, and we've all branched off. We're all now leaders within our organization, and I think right now, everyone needs a leader. People need someone to look up to, someone to help just drive things forward. And I know that with the real estate industry right now, things have been a little bit on, topsy-turvy, right? I mean, the best way to put it. Values skyrocketing, things stabilizing, rates super low, rates go up a little bit. Tell me, in your opinion, do you still feel like today and right now is still a good time to buy a home now that rates have gone up?
I do. Rates are still historically low. Even the first house I ever bought, I had to do a variable rate. It was like 9% to keep it in the single digits, and that was a variable rate. So they're still very, very low. It is still a much better investment to own than to rent and just give away your money to someone. But prices are high, so I expect to see some of the prices leveling off because the rates went up, which will be nice for everyone, I think, at the end of the day. But houses are still selling quickly. We need inventory. We have buyers coming out of our ears. We need houses to sell.
Well, and I think too, the best thing about it is that it's not going to be like the Wild Wild West anymore, where so many people are, because it kind of felt like the Wild Wild West, where you didn't really know what was going on with a house, or you'd get into this market, and at one point, even in 2021, I mean, there was of course steady increase. It feels like end of 2021, 2022, things have been skyrocketing upwards. But the good thing is for buyers is, and this is what I've seen in Florida, with the rates going up a little bit, I think it's sort of evened out the playing field where sellers are not able to just continuously demand hundreds of thousands of dollars more for the home. So it's keeping things stable, keeping things level, but at the same time, you're right, rates are at an all-time low. I mean, in comparison to where they've been historically.
Correct.
And if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, what if you're paying a landlord, you're paying 100% interest. So it's much better to own something than pay
And
that high of interest. Right.
rent amount is so high. I mean,
I
there's
heard
no,
it's
we
crazy.
get a lot of calls for that too. And there are just no reasonable rents anywhere. And there's not even very many rentals. So let's just try. Let's try to get you into a house that we've got programs for rent to own programs, which are really nice. Let's see where you're at. Makes more sense.
I love it. And for everyone that's watching too, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, and I mean, again, like I've said earlier, Christy's my go-to. She helped me sell my house quickly. It was and it was funny because when Christy was working together with me, I told her, I said, "Hey, I'm not sure what route I'm going to go. I don't know if I'm going to try and sell it on my own because I'm an agent, but I was leaving the state, moving to Florida." And I'm just so thankful every day that I think back and say, man, I'm so glad I did not try to do that on my own, because it would have been a nightmare. It would have been so much more challenging to try and do it do it by myself, being out of state, just dealing with, and I think my front yard was being ripped up at the same
It
time too.
was.
I remember that. I remember
Yeah.
that. So, and Stephanie was completely freaked out about it because we were trying to leave and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna have to rip your whole front yard up to
Oh
fix the
yeah.
gas lines." Oh, that was stressful, but you did a good job of handling it. And I mean, it was probably one of the smoothest transactions I can even remember. So,
That's my goal. Always make it smooth.
well, so yeah, so for everyone watching, call ChristyNow.com. She is one of the best in the biz. You definitely will not go wrong there. And I mean, you're so good. I mean, I hear your phone just like ba-ding, ba-ding,
I
ba-ding,
know. I'm
ba-ding, ba-ding.
sorry. I'm
You
sorry.
are
I'm trying to like.
super popular. No, that's good. That's all right. That's all right. I'm glad I was able to coordinate with you so that we could move on. So let me ask you this: if someone's a first-time home buyer, and I know that, of course, you've over the years, I mean, you've worked on both sides. I mean, on all sides of the equation. But let's just say we got a first-time home buyer. What advice would you give to somebody coming into this market? And I mean, is now still a good time for them to make a move? What are your
It,
thoughts?
it is a great time to buy. I highly recommend working with an accredited buyer's agent. I know there's a lot of new agents out there, but because they're in a different market, I don't know that they have the skills to get you the best deal and negotiate the best terms for you. So we specialize in that on my team, and really making sure that we represent their needs most, making sure we get them in the right house at the right price with the right terms, with the least amount of headaches. And that's tough. It's tough in this market, but if you focus and you know what you're doing, it helps. And it helps them because this is their biggest investment. So if you're buying a house, you have to think of it as an investment, and you want that investment to have a good return because you're not going to be here forever. My
Yeah,
goal is to make sure that you get a nice return on that investment. And then you'll call
and
me again when you're ready.
right, right. And I think, I mean, the one thing too that I think is so important, and you totally hit the nail on the head. I mean, we all have, and some people are going to love this, some people won't like it, but I mean, it's the truth of the matter. We all have that family member who's like, I just got my real estate license. And it's one of those things where it's so tough because you want to support your aunt, your uncle, your brother, your friend, whoever it is. You want to support them, but at the end of the day, you're really rolling the dice when you go with someone who doesn't have that expertise, doesn't have all those transactions. I mean, what, between you and your team, I don't even know if you know this, Dad, how many homes have you sold, if you had to guess, between you and your team,
Like in
between
my
helping
entire
buyers and
career,
sellers? Yeah,
holy crap. A few
might be.
thousand,
I love it. I love
double
it.
digit thousands. I don't even know.
Right, right.
I've
And
been
my
around a
dad's
long time.
and my dad's deal was one of the toughest ones. So it's just pretty
I
funny.
sold that house 4 times in a row.
Right. Yes, you did. So, I mean, but it's crazy because so many people, like, for example, if you go to a doctor, you don't want a doctor who a brand new doctor, has never
No.
done, they're doing an exploratory surgery.
Yeah,
You
no.
don't want to go with the doctor that's just done one procedure or watched a procedure. You want to go with somebody who's done hundreds, thousands. They've done it in their sleep.
Yes.
That's why it's so vital to choose someone who's an expert. And for home sellers right now, Christy, with the way that the market is, I know a lot of these home sellers, the big concern that they have, and this is where I think I'm actually excited that the rates went up a little bit because of the fact that I believe that it's going to bring stabilization. It's going to bring more of a, it's going to bring a whole lot more predictability, I
Mhm.
believe, to the marketplace. And we've seen a shortage, of course, in the past with inventory. I think that that's going to change. I think people will start coming on. I think some homes may sell, some may not. But I believe, in my opinion, I think inventory is going to start increasing. It doesn't even seem like inventory completely decreased. It seems like it's just the days on the market are like almost like you put it
Yeah,
up and it's gone instantly.
that's exactly what we're seeing. Houses are still there. They're just selling quicker, so it appears that there's less because there's not as much at the same time to choose from.
Which makes sense. And I mean, if the rates are going up a little bit, it is going to price out some of that marketplace, but it's also going to, I think it's going to ultimately allow us to increase. And then it seems too like a lot of homes, and I don't know if you've looked at this, are a lot of homes still in like a foreclosure status, or they're like with forbearances with the bank, and some of those will be released. Have you seen anything like that? What are your
So
thoughts?
I've heard it. I haven't had any clients that have been in that situation yet. So I can't say one way or the other. I know that they're supposed to all start coming out. So if those people aren't going to stay in their house, then we may see some more hit the market from that level. But I haven't seen that yet.
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, from what you've said, it sounds like now is definitely a great time to buy. And again, rates are low, people are still making moves, which is really, really important. Before we close out everything, Christy, any advice that you would give to any people that are thinking about either getting into the business, or they're thinking about, just even on an investor side? I mean, is it even still good for an investor right now?
It is still good for an investor, and there's a couple different avenues. I mean, one, if you want to buy and hold, it's a great time to buy and hold because the rents are so high. A really
Yeah.
big niche market here are Airbnbs.
Mm.
I am a part of the sports and entertainment industry, and that brings, players are only here, they're usually renting, they usually want a shorter term rental, but they're paying maximum dollar for these. So we are helping facilitate those. And if you have thought about that, that is a fantastic opportunity. I mean, they're getting killer killer amount of money. So even though it's a shorter term, it's triple what they would get just on an open market. And it's a nice little, just a nice another opportunity. Buying and flipping is always good because buyers watch a lot of HGTV and they don't really know how to do any of the work. So those are, pretty houses sell. There's just a lot of different opportunities to do so much. And even with sellers, that you're still getting the most amount of money that you would have gotten for your house in the 17 years that I've been doing this. So it's just good for everyone. You just have to be patient and be ready to, because it's going to be a wild ride, but it's good for you.
I love the fact too that you brought up the HGTV, because it reminds me of just all those episodes where, like, I'm a librarian, and then my husband is a collector of old artwork, and yeah, we're looking for a house that's around $5-6 million. I'm like, what in the world? Like,
Where are you getting
what,
this
what,
money?
where are you getting the money? How's the debt to income ratio going to work? Like,
It's crazy.
it's so funny. And like a lot of those shows, I mean, they're great for entertainment factor. I mean, look, truth be told, I even have my inside sales reps, when I go to train them, I'll usually put one or two episodes. I'll put an episode of Flip or Flop up. I have an episode of oh my god, what's the one with the buyers? I just said what it was. I totally blanked on the name of it. It's the one where, like, you have to buy the house quickly. Oh, House Hunters. So I
Oh,
have House Hunters, I have Flip or Flop, I have the one with Joanna and Chip Gaines. Like, I
yeah.
just I have a couple of different things in there so it makes our training a little bit more fun, but it also gives them an idea. I said, listen, this is what the general public thinks is reality. And
Yeah,
yes, there are some realities in there, but
a little
what
bit.
were you gonna say?
it's crazy because the buyers, that's what they watch and that's what they think a house is going to look like when they go into it. And it's tough when you're selling
Right.
grandma's house who doesn't have that taste,
Oh
but
yeah.
it works.
Well, and we have a lot of family that's looking to that, of course, everybody's like, oh, you guys are in Florida now. Let us know what's going on with real estate. We have a couple family members that are thinking about moving down here, which the market's insane down here. I mean, it's
Easy.
just totally crazy. But we went to a house that was right down the road from us. It's the exact same thing. I mean, it was not your HGTV, where everything is all dolled up. And I will tell you, the one thing that I miss the most about Ohio is the value and the quality of the home and just the overall amazing homes you can get for the money up there. And what you get down here is so different. I mean, it's just night and day. I mean, a $600,000 house is a house that's not even 2,000 square feet down here, which is absolutely insane. I
Living
mean,
here in
it's
Ohio is true. We still do have, I mean, even with our prices have gone up close to a
oh
hundred
yeah,
thousand dollars, and in most cases, and you
yep,
still are getting a better home and a better yard, better
oh
school
yeah.
districts, shopping. I mean, you have everything in your neighborhoods, and still it's so much more affordable than anywhere that I see across. When I talk to other agents, I'm like, that costs what? And I'm like, wow, I guess we're still doing well here.
I have a
Moved to
I have a
Ohio.
Yeah, right. I mean, I only left because of the weather. I mean, the
I know.
houses are still amazing, and it's just crazy because your money goes so much further there. It's insane. I was talking to somebody who lives in Arlington, Virginia, and her husband is deployed, and over there, I mean, they said like the average home price for even an 1,800 square foot house was like 1.7, 1.8 million. I had no idea that Virginia and that area was that skyrocketed upwards, but that's the pricing. It's crazy. So yeah, you want the most house, you're still going to do the very best in Ohio. That's for sure.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, well, Christy, thank you again so much for coming on. I think you gave a lot of value. Anything you want to close out with?
Not that I can think of. Thanks for having me. It's so good to see your face and to talk to you.
Yeah, you as well. And definitely, guys, for everyone that's watching, stay tuned, same channel, same time next week. Christy, thank you again. See you later.
Anytime. Have a good one.
You too.